Arms outstretched, the crowd pressing to get closer, Rohingya Muslims in makeshift camps clawed desperately for precious handouts of food. Today, aid is finally reaching some of those who've fled violence in Myanmar. But for many of the estimated 400,000 who've abandoned their homes, hunger and disease are still a serious threat. This is what they left behind: burning villages, set ablaze, they say, by government forces. The attacks began after Rohingya militants attacked police on August 25th. The Myanmar military responded with what it calls a military operation against insurgents. But increasingly, the international community says it's much more.
Stop the killing! Stop the hate!
Speaking at a rally in Toronto, today Canada's Minister of Foreign Affairs joined the international chorus condemning the military crackdown.
Based on the reports, this looks a lot like ethnic cleansing, and that is not acceptable. It isn't. It is not acceptable to Canadians.
There was a similar protest in Montreal, and one in Paris as international pressure mounts.
Do you believe this is ethnic cleansing?
Well, I would answer your question with another question. When 1/3 of the Rohingya population had to flee the country, can you find a better word to describe it?
The government in Myanmar sees it another way. While they say 40% of Rohingya villages are now empty, they tell CNN it's terrorists and their supporters who fled. Against that backdrop, Myanmar's de facto leader, Aung San Suu Kyi, said she would not attend next week's United Nations General Assembly. Freeland said today she would make the plight of the Rohingya a key issue, something the Prime Minister did in a phone call with Suu Kyi earlier this week.
Expressed our very strong condemnation and asked her to raise her voice.
For the Rohingya who've escaped, the challenge now is where to go. Bangladesh says it doesn't want the refugees leaving these camps and will build shelters to house them. But more are expected. The UN says 1 million Rohingya may be forced to flee Myanmar if the violence continues. Stephen D'Souza, CBC News, New York.